Right, we've had this discussion. I've had this question brought in front of me about marital rape in and its understanding in Islam. Okay, now this is a serious topic, very serious, and as you can imagine, in this day and age, a lot of the non-Muslims, maybe ex-Muslims as well, and atheists and Islamophobes have really sometimes, and the right wing as well, have attacked Islam on this kind of understanding. So let me just clarify, begin with the ruling straight away. Right, marital rape is utterly haram in Islam. Okay, there is not even 1% allowance for any, there is zero tolerance towards marital rape. Okay, I just want to put that out there first of all as the ruling. There is no such thing, and anybody, and I feel that it is once again it is an unfortunate, sad representation and misrepresentation of Allah and His Messenger to say that they allowed marital rape. Right, that is once again a disservice, and I would feel I actually treat these things very harshly, and I would feel that this is a betrayal of Allah and His Messenger. But other people will use less harsh words and say that, okay, it's at the very least a misrepresentation of Allah and His Messenger. Now, just to begin with now, what is this misunderstanding? So this misunderstanding stems from a hadith. There's a very, when I say famous, I mean popularized hadith. That has gone around, is very popular in English circles, in Islamophobic circles, even in schools, secondary schools, people know about this. It has come up in many discussions that does the wife have the right in Islam to say no to sex? And people say she doesn't. And that is nonsense. She absolutely does. Right. Now, I want to clarify what's going on. People are basing this understanding on a hadith. This hadith that they are saying is found in Sahih Muslim, it is found in Sahih Bukhari, it is found in Abu Dawood, in Ad-Darmi, and in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad. Okay. It is a hadith that is solely transmitted pretty much by Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu. Now this hadith pretty much works around this wording. So I'm going to read one of the wordings. Obviously they're all pretty much very similar to this wording. That إِذَا بَاتَتِ الْمَرْأَةِ, that if a woman goes to sleep or spends the night can be translated as that, هَاجِرَةً فِرَاشَ زَوْجِهَا, or هَاجِرَةَ فِرَاشِ زَوْجِهَا, it can be read in either way. Right, so if she spends the night having abandoned or not sleeping with her husband. In another narration he says, إِذَا دَعَا, if the husband calls his wife إِلَى الْفِرَاشِ, to the bed, and she says no. So it has that variation in some narrations. So لَعَنَتْهَا الْمَلَائِكَةِ, the angels will curse this woman hatta tusbih, until it's morning. And in one of the riwayah, hatta tarji, until she returns to the bed. So it doesn't have to be the morning, it could be days later, until she returns to having sex with him. In one of the riwayat, it says, it doesn't say the angels, it says yaskhat alayha, that the Lord's wrath will be upon her. The Lord himself, Rabbus Sama, or Manfis Sama, the one in the heavens, the one in the sky above, will have his wrath for her and his anger. Now, this hadith, right, that we're going to take a look at is the cause of this problem. Okay, this hadith is problematic, and I will demonstrate how this hadith is unreliable and clashes with the clearly established, with not only reason, the golden three, with reason, the established sources of the Quran and Sunnah, and the principles within Islam. Right, so first of all, let's just take a look at these chains. Okay. Now, what I'll do is I'll focus pretty much. Let's take a look at the Bukhari riwayah, because everybody puts Bukhari first. Then we'll take a look at Sahih Muslim as well. And then there's two others. We'll take a look at them. So, okay. Like I said, this narration mainly comes pretty much only through Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu. From him, it centers on some transmitters. Primarily, it centers on A'mash and it centers on Qatada. These two pretty much, this is how it pretty much kind of comes down. There are some other issues as well along the way, but I'll speak about them. So let's take a look at the first riwayah in Bukhari, like which I've quoted to you. Now this comes through A'mash. A'mash, what do we know about A'mash? A'mash is saying An Abi Hazim and Abi Hurairah. It's transmitted from Abi Hurairah. A'mash, he was known as a major mudallis. Okay, mudallis, that means that he would often just omit people and try to make the chain look as though it's sound. Now some people have done tadlis sometimes by good intentions, but he was known to do tadlis from weak narrators. Al-A'mash. Ibn al-Mubarak said about him, إنما أفسد حديث أهل الكوفة Abu Ishaq and Al-A'mash, that these two have destroyed the hadith of Ahl al-Kufa. In Tahdhib al-Kamal, it stated that he did tadlis from over 20 sheikhs. From over 20 sheikhs he did tadlis. From one of them in over 100 narrations. Wow. Al-Ala'i said in his Jami' al-Tahsil and Ibn Abd al-Bar in his Tamheed that yudallisu an al-du'afa, that he would omit people knowing, like he would try to bring up a sound person to make the chain get by. Al-Dhahabi tries to justify for him a bit by saying ربما دلس عن الضعيف, sometimes he does tadlis from a da'if narrator, but ولا يدري به, maybe he didn't know. This is what he tries to. Other people were very harsh about him. Musa ibn Tarif says he was a kadhab, he was a liar. Abaya ibn Rab'i said he's matruk mutahamun fi dinihi, that he's rejected. Al-Hasan ibn Dhakwan said he's da'if. At the very least, this person is problematic. There is an'ana in this chain. That means he's not saying I heard. He's dropping it as just an. From Abu Hazim. Then you might say, oh, well, but there's a riwayah from... there's a riwayah in Bukhari from Shu'bah on Sulaiman from Abu Hazim. What about there? Aha, no A'mash in that chain. Aha, but I will say, that one nice. But here... who's transmitting that in Bukhari? That is transmitted by Ibn Abi Adi. What do we have to say about Ibn Abi Adi? Abu Hatim al-Razi said, لا يحتج به in the Mizan. Ibn Muhriz said, قال Ibn Abi Adi, لا نكذب الله ما سمعنا من الجرير إلا بعد الاختلاط. That he was somebody openly admitted later on transmitting certain narrations which were problematic himself. And Abu Hatim al-Razi in the Mizan says we don't accept from him. Okay, but then you might say, but in Bukhari there's another narration. Muhammad ibn Ar'ara from Shu'bah, from Qatada, from Zurara, from Abi Hurairah. Aha! Muhammad ibn Ar'ara has some problems himself, but let's just put him aside. As I said, these narrations rest mainly on A'mash and Qatada. Qatada himself was another mashhoor mudallis. Tadlis. He would often omit people. Dhahabi said he was ma'roof bit tadlis. Ibn Hibban said that. Hakim said that. All these people. Abu Dawood said he did tadlis from over 30 people. Lam yasma' minhum, but pretended as though he'd heard from them. Ibn Hajar even puts him in the third category of mudallisin, la yuhtajju bihim, who are not reliable. Right, so you might say, okay, so that's the three narrations found in Bukhari. What about Ad-Darimi? Darimi's riwayah is from Qatada again. What about in Ahmad ibn Hanbal? Once again from Qatada. What about another narration, Ahmad ibn Hanbal, from A'mash? But what about, you might say, but in Ahmad ibn Hanbal there's one narration where Qatada is saying, he's saying, akhbarana, that he's saying that I heard, and I heard that, so he's using the word, he's not doing an'ana. You think, acha. First of all, that would be massively problematized. If that was the case, why didn't he say it in the more authentic narrations? Why didn't they transmit that from him? Secondly, who's saying Qatada said this? Bahaz. And what does Abu Hatim al-Razi say about Bahaz? La yuhtajju bih. La yuhtajju bih. So, out. This one as well, out. Okay. Let's take a look at the narrations in Sahih Muslim. Narrations in Sahih Muslim come from Ibn Abi Umar, who says, I heard from Marwan, who says from Yazid ibn Kaysan, from Abu Hazim, the same narration going back to Abu Huraira. This Yazid ibn Kaysan, interessante. Yahya ibn Qattan says, Laysa mimman yu'tamadu ali, is not reliable. Abu Hatim al-Razi says, La yuhtajju bih, we do not take him as an evidence, right? Ibn Hajar even says, he tries to be good, says Saduq, he's trustworthy, yukhti, he makes mistakes. Not nice, this one. Right, so there's another narration in Muslim, you might say. I'll say, indeed there is, people, indeed there is. But who's in that? Al-A'mash. Is it mu'an'an? Does he do an'ana? Yes. So out. So as you can see, all of these narrations that I've quoted, they all come through Abu Huraira and predominantly just rest on these two, A'mash and Qatada, both with mu'an'ana. The other chains where somebody claims that they said he heard has other problematic people in there, or other connected chains like this Yazid ibn Kaysan, which is unacceptable, or which I mentioned, like Bahaz is the ikhtilaf about Bahaz or Ibn Abi Adi. Okay, so that's this particular hadith. So now you might say, okay, the hadith is problematic. And what, Mufti? And what? Well, and a lot. Because this is not a small matter. First of all, I want, actually I was showing on my Facebook, I came back, I received this week a lot of books on Jarh wa Ta'dil. That's what I call textual pathology. That's Imam Muslim's Tamyiz. These are books, you've got Imam Zuhri's problematic narration in 4 volumes. This is the problematic, what I call narratorial pathogens. Allah! I want the credit for that. Narratorial pathogens, the ilal, right, in textual pathology, in ilal al-hadith. These are those that were found in Sahih Muslim. So that's some awesome kind of reading I've been doing. These are the ilal hadith, but you've got Ali al-Madini. But this is an interesting contemporary work as well. Now look, illa, when you reject the hadith with one of the key things, because it's from a well-known, everyday, ubiquitous matter, umum al-balwa. The Hanafiya were really huge on this. And they give examples, like things like breaking the wudu by touching your private parts. Everybody should know this. Why should it only be transmitted through one person, etc. And they go through other narrations. Then you've got other sections like when the fatwa of the Sahabi himself goes against it, like Abu Huraira's famous hadith saying that, look, when the dog licks the bowl, you need to wash it 7 times. But Abu Huraira's own fatwa was, no, you don't need to wash it 7 times. 3 times is enough. So that's Abu Huraira himself going against what he's transmitting. That's an example. But let's say, and then when the narration goes against the qiyas or the qawa'id in Islam. So from the Hanafiya, Isa ibn Abban, Qadi, you got Abu Zayd and many of the Mutaakhirin from the Hanafiya, and the Baghdadiyin from the Malikiya rejected many Khabr al-Ahad if they went against. Some people called it Qiyas, but what they referred to as Bunani said was the Qawa'id, the principles which I established in Islam. Remember the 3 things which I've mentioned. Right, so you say, well, what's the problem with this? Well, first of all, how could something so well known only be transmitted through one companion, Abu Hurairah radiallahu anh? When you think about it, how marriage, and there must be contentions happening every day in married life. So people are living with the Prophet. Abu Hurairah only comes to the Prophet in the last 2-3 years of his life. Yet the Prophet has spent a decade in Medina, married families, every day, everybody living there. Why does everybody not know this? Why is it only coming through these people? So that's one key contention. But let's go back to the Quran. Right. What does the Quran say? The Quran, when it speaks about women, wives, عاشروهن بالمعروف, that live with them with kindness, with known kindness. بالمعروف. Is forcing to have sex, is that kindness? قطعا no. قطعا no. That is utterly unacceptable. Let's take a look at another verse. وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. And they have the same rights as they have against them. Like same for you, same for them. There's no hadith saying the man will be cursed if the woman wants sex. No such hadith. No such narration that the Lord will be upset and so on. Right? What about another verse where Allah is saying where things don't go well? فَإِمْسَاكُمْ بِمَعْرُوفٍ أَوْ تَسْرِيحٌ بِإِحْسَانٍ. Verse of the Quran, people, Surah Baqarah. That فَإِمْسَاك, so hold on بِمَعْرُوف. Hold on to that relationship with ma'roof, with kindness. أَوْ تَسْرِيحٌ بِإِحْسَانٍ. Okay, it's not working, there's incompatibility between us, irreconcilable differences. Fine, you go your way, I'll go my way. That is fine. This is what the Quran is highlighting. Somebody could argue in the Quran there's a woman where it's addressing the issue of, in that particular example, of a woman creating issues in the household. So when in imra'atun nashazat, that when there's nushuz, the nashiza, the woman that is a nashiza, that is stirring up trouble and doing this in the household. And many people said nushuz included, they said refusing sex, not having sex and so on. Allah doesn't say alayha la'natullah, she has the curse of Allah on her and stuff like this. He doesn't say that. And that's a discussion which I've addressed in a different in a different talk, so I don't want to digress from that. What about another verse of the Quran? وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ, and from Allah's signs, and خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا, that He created for you partners. لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا, so that you may find comfort in them. Now look at this, that you may find comfort. Now we understand that that may be in many ways. One of the ways, physical comfort, obviously, right? وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُمْ مَوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً, and He placed between you love, compassion. That's not compassion. Marital rape, that's no way compassion. Utterly unacceptable, goes against the Quran. This teaching that, now you're going to say, yeah, but that's not marital rape. If anybody argued that that's not marital rape, yes it is. It's emotional blackmail. You're emotionally blackmailing a woman to say that, well, God is going to curse you and distance you from His mercy unless you come here and have sex with me. That is emotional blackmail, which is abuse, which is emotional. That is a form of manipulative rape, because the other person is not wanting to do it, and you are then saying God is going to be angry with you if you don't get yourself here right now. So that is marital rape, and that is utterly haram. Let me go on though, people. There is a hadith. Now this hadith comes in Bukhari, it comes in Ibn Majah, it comes in Nasa'i, that the wife of Thabit ibn Qais, her name was Jamilat ibn Salul. Jamila, this woman, that was her name. Jamila does mean beautiful as well, and apparently she was very beautiful. So, but that's her name, the wife of Thabit ibn Qais. She comes to the Prophet and complains about being with her husband. She'd got married to him and she wasn't happy in this relationship. And she says, مَا أَعْتِبُ عَلَيْهِ فِي دِينٍ وَلَا خُلُقٍ. She says, I can't criticize not his deen nor his good character. I can't criticize either. Meaning the guy's got impeccable character. Good character. Well-mannered. And deen. He's got good deen. Wow. Okay. He says, غَيْرَ أَنِّي أَكْرَهُ الْكُفْرَ بَعْدَ إِيمَانِ. I don't want to be somebody who goes to kufr after faith. In another riwayah, she said, غَيْرَ أَنِّي لَا أُطِيقُهُ بُغْضًا. I can't handle him out of despising him. In some narrations, she said, when he comes to me, I would rather spit in his face than have sex with him. Great guy. Great guy. Great character. Right? Great deen. But she said, and in some narrations, there's narrations in Bazar and the Musnad of Ahmad, where Ma'mar says, she says that you can see what I have in terms of beauty. Like she was apparently very beautiful. And she says that he was known lid-damama, for being, not to disrespect him, but he was known for being quite not so easy on the eye, quite ugly. Like people said he was damim. So he was a bit ugly. So she just couldn't tolerate that. And she's, in some narrations, like I said, she said, I'd rather spit in his face than have sex with him. But he's a great guy otherwise. You know, I'm not saying he's a horrible, nasty person. He's not. But she says, this brings out the worst in me. Did the Prophet say, Alayki la'natullah, al-malaikatu tal'anuk, the angels are cursing you, yaskhat alayki rabbuk, the Lord is angry with you, hatta tarja'i, hatta tusbihi, until you go back to his bed, until you do this, until you do that? Of course not. The Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, fine, said to him, talliqha. She had, because their marriage relationship was quite new, she had recently acquired a part of his asset. And so it doesn't look like she's doing this just to con him out of his assets. The Prophet asked, you know, this recently acquired land you took from him, you're happy to give it back? She said, yeah. The Prophet said, take it, said to him, and finish this relationship right now. Rahmatan lil alami. A mercy for the world. That's the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Now, in another riwayah, the Prophet himself was married to a woman. Now there's some debate on the name of this woman. Some people say her name was Umayma bint Sharahil. Some people said she was Al-Kalabiyah. Whoever she was, the Prophet, some people said that here's a woman, she's looking to get married. The Prophet got married to her. And this is transmitted, you have this. There's certain narrations of it in different books, some even in Bukhari, in the Sahihain, alluding to it. Now, the Prophet, when he just went into the house and she was there, she said, A'udhu billahi mink. I seek refuge in Allah from you. Now, the Prophet said, فَقَدْ عُذْتِ بِعَظِيمٍ. You have sought refuge in the mighty. And he said, and he left, and he said that this relationship won't work, and he left it, and he said to it's Abu Usaid that give her such and such thing as a gift, and I'll finish this. I'll divorce her from this relationship. Now the scholars did dispute, why did she say A'udhu billahi mink? Some people say she was set up to say that, like some of the wives had told her, say this, the Prophet likes hearing that. Some people say she didn't know he was the Prophet. She was just told, hey, would you, since she was interested in getting married, this was an arranged marriage, and she did not know that was the Prophet. But her words to the Prophet, and the Prophet said that, look, well, she's obviously whatever, but she doesn't seem very happy with this relationship. Let's end this right here. You see, that is what relationships are. The Prophet could have said, oh, the malaika tal'anuk, the angels curse you, this happens, that happens. No, that is not how Islam works. Okay. Another, and this is one of the most important narrations I want to bring your attention to, people. The verses of the Quran have said that the women have the same rights as you. That you live with them with kindness. You either accept them with kindness or separate gracefully. That that Allah placed love and compassion between you. That is, the Quran takes precedence. Then there is a hadith. This hadith is in Sahih Bukhari. it is in Sahih Muslim, it is in Nasa'i, it is in Tirmidhi, it is in Abu Dawood, it is in the Musnad of Ahmad, it is in Sunan al-Darmi, that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alayhi wasallam from Uqbat ibn Amir, that he said, أَحَقُّ الشُّرُوط, that the most deserving of the conditions, and tufu biha, that you must be loyal to, مَسْتَحْلَلْتُمْ بِهِ الْفُرُوجِ, that which you got married by. That which you got married by. That, and the actual wording, that which you made their private parts halal to you by. Now people here say, oh, that means be kind, provide food, do this. You did not make that condition when you got married. What was the condition? The shart for the nikah to be valid. The shart for the nikah to be valid wasn't, is there food in your cabinet? That wasn't the shart. Was the shart, have you got a horse, or do you have a vehicle, or do you have money? That was never the shart of a nikah, to make a woman halal for you. The shart was consent. It was consent was the shart. Rida was the shart. Rida tarafain. That she was supposed to say, qabiltu, I accept. That condition you must live up to. You cannot turn away from that condition. That hadith is found in Bukhari, in Muslim, in Darmi, in Tirmidhi, in Abu Dawood, in Musnad of Ahmad. How can people justify, go away from the clear verses of the Quran, clear teachings of the Messenger, the principles of Islam, that are that there is no harm in Islam? How could Islam condone harm? How could it condone harm like this? It would do nothing but breed hatred if you were. So these clearly show, and a matter that is so well known, how is it only Abu Hurairah radiallahu anh transmitted it? How is that? And that too through mainly A'mash and Qatada, both through mainly Tadlis and An'ana and the chains and the problems which I've already highlighted. And it clashes with, you see the wife of which Thabit ibn Qais, her story which I just read to you, it clashes with this hadith of Uqbat ibn Amir, that you must maintain the initial condition for nikah, and that condition was consent. Right, so anybody telling you anything different is wrong. They are either ignorant, they are either misinformed, or they are misrepresenting Allah and His Messenger. And I seriously beseech them, I am as plead to them to stop misrepresenting Allah and His Messenger. Now somebody may say to me, that yeah, but look, in a relationship, naturally there's always some compromise. That's a fair statement, true, there is always compromise in relationships. That's the very essence of relationships. And you might say, well, look, even with sex, one of the two partners, it's not always that both partners are always on that mindset equally at the same time. One of them might be kind of always a bit of a compromise, like, okay, and you think, well, fine, that may happen, and I'm sure that happens, right? So you might say, well, so what's the problem? Look, that is not necessarily the problem. The problem isn't, can you persuade people? Like, if you're in a relationship and a person wants to be intimate and the other person's feeling, and you persuade them, people are always persuading people, hey, come on, let's do whatever. Nobody's arguing against persuasion. But it should be done. Two important factors. One, through non-abusive means. Not physical, not emotional, not mental, not psychological abusive means. Abuse does not enter your persuasion. You can persuade people, you can be nice to people, you can do things. People are always persuaded. People are persuaded to do everything, but not through abusive means. No way. Two, if you're gonna persuade people, don't bring God into it. Don't bring God, Allah and His Messenger to justify you having sex. That is haram. By all means, persuade somebody. Be good to them. Be kind, whatever. Hey, listen, oh, how about a holiday? Whatever you're going to do. Not a holiday every time. That'll be like a daily holiday. But my point is, persuade people, not through abusive means, any kind of abuse. Mental, physical abuse, psychological, emotional, religious, spiritual. And two, do not bring God, do not drag the name of Allah and His Messenger to just fulfill your need to have sex. That is unacceptable. Allah and His Messenger are not to be used as tools for you to manipulate people so you can have sex. By your own means, relationships, is true, they are always kind of compromising balances, and you can persuade people. That's your life, it's your business, it's between you two. But these things are utterly haram. So that's something I thought was very important to clarify. Because look, at the end of the day, you have to think of it from reason. Look, if you're a woman, and there are many women out there, even for men, just think about it. Or if you've got a sister or a daughter, or it could be anybody. Just think about it. Just put your theory of mind. Just put yourself in there. You don't like to be emotionally blackmailed into having sex, being violated, just because God is going to curse you. That is just low, man. And then to attribute it back to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is even worse. So these were some words that I've seen a lot of people misuse. I felt that, look, they had to be clarified. I will clarify that, look, Islam by all means does teach that a couple, men and women, have rights. In a relationship, you have rights upon each other. People should not play unnecessary mind games with each other. People should not, Islam does speak about, look, people should not withhold sex from each other as a kind of instrument to make the other person suffer. And if that is happening, then you need to question the relationship you're in. If a person, let's say there's sexual incompatibility between a couple, if it could be the woman, it could be the man, if somebody has a greater sexual libido than their partner and it's just not working, then they need to question if the other person is withholding sex to make them suffer. Then they need to question themselves, am I in the right relationship? Why am I suffering? Why is this person, doing this with me or whatever? And then if they're uncomfortable in a relationship, they should just part ways gracefully. And that relationship is not for them. Or maybe they can discuss it, maybe they can improve on it, maybe they can work on it. But what I'm trying to say, and obviously through stages of life, people's libidos will vary as well. Sometimes, rocketing, sometimes maybe not so much, sometimes rocketing again, right? But the point is that these things are all natural, but what you don't do is to get this done, let's bring down Allah and His Messenger, and yes, alhamdulillah. So that's very disrespectful, and I find it very dishonorable to Allah and His Messenger's honor. So I hope that makes sense. People, I think with that, it's been 2.5